Good afternoon. My name is Jozef Aerts. I developed a mapping between the new line codes for COVID-19 tests and the SDTM microbiology domain, allowing to fully automatically generate SDTM datasets from electronic health records. And that is what I will demo today. Here is a short agenda. Let us start with the SATM generation process. The classic SATM generation process is too slow. Reason is that, especially for findings domains, we usually do not know what to expect, and we must categorize every captured data point into not only domains, but also variables. As we usually do not know exact which tests are performed, this process is tedious and error-prone. So how can we do much better? We can do much better by using precoordinated terminology right from the start. Usually this means LOINC and SNOMED CT. For example, electronic health records do not use post-coordinated CDISC control terminology. They use LOINC and SNOMED CT. For lab records, we do already have the LOINC SDTM LB mapping, and we can use that for automating a lot of the mapping. Essentially, LOINC codes for tests should already appear in the protocol. Also, talks should make suggestions for LOINC codes for usual tests. We should stop seeing LOINC codes as a burden and start seeing it as a huge opportunity, as it allows us to automate the generation of SDTM datasets for many domains. Therefore, we extended the by CDISC published LOINC LB mapping and developed and are developing similar mappings for other domains such as MB, VS, EG and QS. And we are making these mappings available through RESTful web services, so that any program can use them. Let us first concentrate on the mapping between the new LOINC codes for COVID-19 testing and the SDTM MB domain. During the COVID-19 pandemic, LOINC published new test codes for COVID-19 and other microbiology tests. Similar to the LOINC LB mapping, we generated a mapping between these LOINC codes and the SDTM microbiology domain. Also, these have been made publicly available through a RESTful web service. In this slide, you see such a REST request at the top and the answer with the mapping from the server as XML. Okay, let's do a demo how we can fully automatically generate SDTM datasets starting from an EHR system using these mappings and RESTful web services. When I start the software, it asks me which EHR system to use. For testing, we used a set of publicly available test and demonstration EHRs. For the demo today, I am selecting the COVID-19 CTIA demo system. I can either get or select the subjects based on a SNOMED CT code for a disease or from a FHIR research study resource, which essentially represents an electronic protocol. For the demo, I will select a research study. This is our study definition for our COVID-19 study, so I copy-paste that. It then generates a list of all our patients in the study. I can now choose between all observations found for these subjects or select a set of LOINC codes of tests for these subjects. In the former case, the system will try to categorize each test into an SDTM domain. I'll take all observations. For each subject, it retrieves the data from the EHR server using the FHIR API and RESTful web services. When this is done, the system asks me whether I would like to standardize quantitative data to SI or conventional units. This applies to SDRSN variables. This is made possible through a new RESTful web service developed by us and deployed by the National Library of Medicine NLM. I select to standardize to SI units. Similarly, for the VS domain, I can standardize to metric units for VS SDRSN. After having done so, the system generates the DM dataset. It now also asks me whether I want to generate a medical history dataset. Of course I want that. Medical history is taken from the condition resources in the EHR system. Then the system asks me whether I also want to generate a concomitant medications dataset. I say yes. If you look carefully, you see reason for medication passing by, referencing a condition. This smells like a RELREC, isn't it? So I say yes when I want to generate a RELREC dataset. Okay, done. Remark that due to the mappings, we also have records in sub-MB and sub-VS datasets. Okay, now that we have the datasets, let's visualize them. For that we use the open source Smart Submission Dataset Viewer. The viewer has some interesting options, like bringing back supplemental qualifiers back to their parent datasets. We also want to use RESTful web services for obtaining line code information. And I didn't say that yet, we are using the CDISC dataset XML standard format, which allows us, for example, to embed FHIR source records into the SDTM records. This is not possible at all when using XPT format. Okay, let us start loading. Here is a view of the sub-VS dataset. But if we go to the VS dataset, we also see that the supplemental qualifiers can be visualized as additional columns. And here is the DM dataset. And and the CM dataset. By the way, we use the SNOMED CT code for CM decode, but that can easily be mapped to other coding systems like HUDRAC and ATC. And here is the MB dataset, which was generated using the new LOINC MB for COVID-19 mapping. When I put the mouse over the LOINC code, I get all the information I need to understand what the LOINC code means. And when I put the mouse over use subject ID, a narrative extract of the source file record is displayed, as we embedded the file record into the SDTM record. And here is the MH dataset, medical history. Also here, we used the SNOMED CT code to populate MHD code. And the vital signs dataset. Let us now have a look at the RELREC. When I select a record and then click Ctrl R, I get more information about the relationship. And when I then navigate to the CM dataset or the MH dataset, the records are automatically selected. Okay, back to the slides now. Some conclusions and further work planned. We have seen that when the mappings between LOINC and SDTM are available, we can automate the generation of almost any SDTM dataset when starting from electronic health records. The development of such mappings is, however, a huge amount of work. However, if we submit the LOINC code of the test, why should we still need to submit test CD, test, spec, method and so on? All the necessary information for the reviewer is already in the LOINC code and can easily be obtained and visualized to the reviewer using a RESTful web service. Essentially, the SDTM rule should be, when the LOINC code is provided, there should be no need to submit test CD, test, spec, method and so on. This is a screenshot showing how all this information can be provided to the reviewer on the fly. Future work. We are finalizing extending the LOINC LB mappings with a few thousand new mappings. We are currently generating mappings for EG and QS. We would like to pilot the automatic generation of datasets from Aerts for a real study, and also pilot the use of the FIRE resources, research study, research subject, plan definition and activity definition. These essentially describe a machine-readable protocol. Additional materials such as an overview of the public RESTful web services and the links to the source code of the project can be found at the conference platform. Thank you so much.